Today we're gonna talk about Bookmas 2024. Hey everybody, so I'm here to give you an update on the first book of the Bookmas 2024 reading challenge and reading vlogs. So I started with book 1, which is Why We Kiss Under the Mistletoe, Christmas Traditions Explained. And this book, I'm gonna give it 4 stars. Now, as I thought this is just a series of different Christmas traditions, from religious traditions to modern day traditions. I would consider them modern day, although they do have their roots in very old fashioned traditions like Saint Nick, obviously, or very old religious traditions, again, like Saint Nick, which has transformed and evolved into Santa Claus, which is in what I consider to be very modern, because Santa Claus doesn't necessarily have any religious attachment to it. And now we have other representations of Santa Claus, like Blanta and all that, which I love actually. And I think it's a lot of fun to see how certain traditions have evolved and for them to be more inclusive. Because at the root of Christmas, at the end of the day, the whole world is trying to celebrate togetherness, family time, kind of recounting the whole year, your experience, being grateful for the year that has passed, and looking forward to the future. So I think it's a great tradition that doesn't necessarily need a religious affiliation to it. And obviously whoever does partake in any religious celebration, also that is completely fine too. I know that sometimes when we talk about Christmas, there is this discourse about how it should be celebrated or why it should be celebrated a certain way, but I don't think that that's the point. Whenever we do that, we miss the whole point of being grateful, being thankful. The whole point is that we celebrate, and we are aware and we are conscious of the fact that we are here, of what we have, that we are grateful for it, and that we have the ability to make plans for the future, and not everybody has that. So yeah, I think that in whatever form you wanna take that tradition with you, I think that's fine. And this book does that. It gives you the origins of every single tradition, in particular just Christmas. It doesn't go into other ones like Hanukkah or Kwanzaa or different ones, but it does, when it comes to Christmas, it does mention how Christmas has evolved, or different traditions with Christmas have evolved, like the tree. How come the tree is expected now to be, some of it has religious themes, now it doesn't necessarily have that, how some of it comes from Europe, how some of it comes from Syria. So it's really interesting. If you guys want to know more about the Christmas traditions that you even participate in. I think it's an incredibly well researched book. A lot of the things that we do, also when it comes to religion, a lot of the things that we do, people think that they are strictly like either in the Bible or from your religion, and then when you listen to a book like this or read a book like this, you realize that no, that some of them come from different religions and they have been adapted. Some of them don't even come from a religious background. Simply a prince or a princess decided to start X, Y, and Z tradition, and it became popular. And it really made me think that princess and prince, way back in the day, or royalty, were like the equivalent of modern day celebrities. Like if a celebrity says that something is like popular and they put it on like any social media and it becomes viral and people start doing it, then in 10 years it'll be a tradition, and then in 50 years no one's gonna remember where it came from, and then in 100 years people is gonna say that it's a tradition that's always been there, that it's part of the Christmas tradition. And it's like, no, this random celebrity said it once and it went viral. And that's exactly what happened to some of the Christmas traditions. Like a prince or a princess once decided to do that in their own kingdom, and then it kind of became popularized. And then with colonization, obviously, those traditions kind of came to America, and then people kind of started doing them. Similar like to something that happened with Panseria in English, because it's Flor de Noche Buena, and it's a flower that it's from Mexico. And so, in American, I always get this wrong, but I think in American General or something like that, or someone who was a representative of the government from the U.S. took it from Mexico into the U.S., and because his name was Panseria or something like that, they gave that name to the flower, and now everybody in the U.S. calls it Panseria, but really the name is Noche Buena. And how you even strip the name, and it's not even that difficult to say Noche Buena, and it's just Christmas Eve, or yeah, it's just Christmas Eve, a Noche Buena, or good night. Noche Buena means good night, so you can call it good night flower or red good night flower or something like that. And or Mexican red flower. I don't know. You can call it anything you want. Like, why call it the name of someone who like simply brought it to a different country? So, I mean, that's neither here nor there, but kind of. And that that is kind of the way certain things, certain traditions have transformed. And how people assume that they've always been that way, but they haven't. So I think that it's super interesting to listen, to read. Some of them I didn't know, some of them I did. I found it, like I said, incredibly funny to think that some random person in Europe decided to put X, Y, and Z thing on their Christmas that particular year, and now we do that hundreds of years later, and people fight over it being a religious tradition when it's really not. It's just a random person deciding to do that. Or different waves of different, even in the same religion, being waves of certain things being accepted or certain things not being accepted, how traditions change in form. I remember also they were talking about the tree also possibly having or in some cases in some countries having a direct significance to the tree of Adam and Eve and the apples and stuff like that. And I remember when I was little, we had apples in our Christmas tree instead of like bubbles, instead of ornaments, like the round ornaments. We had some ornaments, but we had apples. And I remember that being a little bit peculiar because people didn't necessarily have apples, but we did. And I have that curiosity of asking my parents why we had apples that like during growing up, if they if they did it for a particular reason, if because their background is in religion, if they did it for a particular reason, or was it just decoration? Does it have to do anything with that? Or yeah, I was just wondering, and it kind of uh, brought me back to a core memory that I have. So I thought that was very interesting. So, anyways, that is the first book of this challenge. That book is Why We Kiss Under the Mistletoe. Different Christmas traditions. I gave it 4 stars. I thought it was incredibly well researched and insightful and informative, and I think it's a great book to kick off the holidays. As a listening book, I think it's great if you're going on a road trip to be listening to it. If you listen to a little bit each day before Christmas, I think that's also fun. As you are preparing your home, maybe listen to different parts. If you're buying poncerias or noche buenas, go ahead and listen to that part. Also, there's like different foods that they're referring to, so you can, while you're cooking, you can listen to that section. So I think that was a lot of fun. I would say, because I didn't give it 5 stars, because it is pretty long, and I don't think it's meant to consume like I am consuming it, trying to listen to it in one sitting. Some of the stories kind of started to melt together. Like I said, it's kind of hard now for me to remember certain things because they started to melt together. But I think it's a great book to have. I'm definitely gonna try and find myself a physical copy. It's a great book to have, and every Christmas kind of go back and see your favorite traditions, where do they come from, how did they come to be, and all that. So I would definitely recommend this book, and I'm really glad I started the challenge with this one. And now I'm gonna start my second book, so be sure to tune in tomorrow to see which book I am gonna read and see if I like it. Remember that on the description you have all the social media where you can follow me and all the ways that you can support the channel. And remember that you can always like this video if you're liking this series, and you can always subscribe so you can get notified every time I upload a video. Remember, this series I'm uploading every day. So yeah, remember to come back every day and see which Christmas book I am listening to now, and if you might want to pick it up before Christmas Day. Remember to keep reading and keep blooming, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.